Can everyone hear me? Wow, Discord's freaking out. What's up, Larry? What's up, Conneru? Can y'all hear me? Sweet. Alright, I'm gonna share my screen. And cool, got that. And let's see. I just gotta get the stream going. So if I transition over to this one and check, you're getting my mic this time. OBS, no shenanigans. All right. Welcome everyone to another edition of Game Design with Dr. Gabe. We are going to pick up right where we left off last time with this 2D side-scroller action adventure. I have not had any time this week to work on it on my own, so we are exactly where we left off the time before. We've got some people chilling in our Discord right now. We got Conneru here, we got Larry here. I don't know, maybe KMR will come out at some point. She usually does. So y'all, if you have any questions or suggestions or anything, you can just drop it right there in the chat on Discord. I don't know, because I heard something about our subscription expiring, if this is streaming to YouTube or to Twitch right now. But if it is, for those of you who want to be involved in the chat, it's a little technically laborious for me to pop in between those three different places. So if you want to be involved in the chat, come to the Discord. It's discord.gg/Amaru. That's AMARU. And you can drop in the chat here and be more engaged with what we're doing. So let's take a look at what we achieved last time, or what we've achieved since the beginning of this. And my brain is booting up for this, just like everyone tuning in. So it's a good thing that I'm pretty rigorous and adamant about keeping this little log. It's really important to keep these logs, because when you get super busy with work and life and all this other stuff, and you're not able to look at a project for like a week, you could be like, what did I do last time, and where did I go? And keeping a log just helps you not have to worry about that, because you can just look right where you were. So okay, let's take a look. 11/15/2022. What did we do? So we discovered a question: how does ignore raycast work? Goombas bounce off the walls in Simba, but not each other. So yeah, that was a weird one. We still don't have an answer to that yet. What do we mean by that? So let's go into our scene view. What is it exactly that Gabe is talking about? Why is the UI? Where's the whole rest of the game? Oh, it's all the way down there. Why is that UI box so massive? That's funny. All right, so you'll notice I've got my little Goombas. They are just little, so for those who haven't caught on yet, we're making a Mario clone. That's what we're doing. I see a little chat. I guess you could call it a mini game in Conneru. Oh, okay, Conneru. Go home. You're drunk. No, wait. I have a really, really bad joke for you. It'll actually make you angry. All right, you ready for this? What is blue and not very heavy? Light blue. It's so bad. That joke literally actually makes me angry because it's so bad. I'm just glad I got to share that with the world. So Connor makes the point we have a mini game here. It's pretty much a mini game. For those of you who don't know what this community is, this is the community for Amaru, the self-care virtual pet. It is a virtual pet that helps you with your self-care. You set goals each day. When you meet your goals, you get to take care of your pet. It is out on iOS and Android. It has mini games in it. It's got a little memory mini game in there. It's got a little stone stacking game in there. Really great. We made it. It's got a 4.7 out of 5 on the stores. About 500,000 downloads. People really like it. So check it out. Download it. Buy it. We would appreciate that. All right. So, Goombas and raycasting. Sorry, I'm gonna leave. I'm tired because of school. No worries, Larry. Get your sleep. Be good for school. That's what self care is all about. You do not gotta watch somebody make Mario. Go sleep. Talk to you later. All right. So Goombas. All right. So you'll see that this Goomba has a variable here, a public variable called raycast distance. Oh, KMR has arrived. Hello. Raycast distance of 0.55. So what does that mean? It means a ray, if you remember from maths, is a point that has a line extending out from it. And in this case, this line is going to have a distance of 0.55. It's going to stop. And when that ray, at any point along that ray, bumps into something, oh, we have somebody new. What up, Speaky? Via Speaky? I don't know if that, how you say that. So when the ray bumps into something, it's going to trigger a function that is in the enemy movement controller. That's going to tell the enemy to move, to turn around, right? So I think if I hit play in the game view, will it show the raycasts? Let's see. It doesn't there, but if I go to aha, so you can see there's this little jousting stick sticking out of the Goomba, and you'll notice when this Goomba bounces on this wall on the right, boop, it turns around, right? So that's what the raycast is supposed to do. When it hits a collider, it turns around. But you'll notice this weird thing happens, that when the Goombas bump into each other, they don't turn around. They also don't turn around, if I'm not mistaken, if they bump into Simba. Let me see. Let me verify that. Oh, they do. Huh. Okay, they bump into, they do this, but they don't do it with each other. All right, so we think the reason why that is because they have this layer that we have set them to called ignore raycast. So they're not, so why are we doing that? We're doing that because you'll see that the Goomba's got, his little spear comes out from the middle of him, but if I click him, this green box is his collider. So if I didn't have this ignore raycast layer on, set, that white line would intersect the green box and he'd immediately start trying to turn around the whole time. In fact, can I show that? Yep, there it is, right? So he's freaking out because he's colliding with himself. So we don't want that. But the problem is that they're also not colliding with each other. So we're following this tutorial to a T, trying to figure out exactly how to get the most out of it. But some of the things that the tutorial is telling us to do seem to have some limitations. Austin, Sundead Sis, what is this? If I can ask, I'm confused. You are in Game Design with Dr. Gabe. So if you don't know me, I'm the guy who was a lead designer on the Amaru project. We are, I won't even say that, but I am interested in making additional games. One type of game that I've always wanted to make is a action adventure side scroller, and so I'm just working through a little Unity game tutorial on how to make action adventure side scrollers. And so what we're doing in these sessions is basically I'm just following along with the YouTube tutorial, and we're kind of figuring it out together, because sometimes the tutorial is good and sometimes the tutorial is not so good. And we're just kind of figuring it out together and making a little game. So what I've been doing for the past 15 minutes is honestly just getting caught up on where we left off last time. So I keep a log to do that, because my memory certainly isn't going to keep track of it. And so we've been discussing this ignore raycast problem, which I'm not going to repeat everything again, but yeah, here you go. So the Goombas are not going to bounce off each other because they're on this ignore raycast layer, and we're going to have to come up with a better solution for that if we want them to bounce off each other. So there's that. I'm personally curious to know if there's a way to make it so that the ray casts off the side of the object instead of from the center of the object. I'm sure there probably is a way. I just don't know what it is. So we can find that out another time. All right, so what's next on the log? We now have a working scoring system. That is true. So take a look. If I go into play mode, yeah, Austin. So I could put them on layers so they wouldn't bump, but the thing is that we want them to bump. It's just we want them to bump and then turn around. We want them if two Goombas were to bump each other, we would just want them to turn around and walk the opposite direction, the way that they do off of the walls and off of Simba. So, all right, we got Simba. He's moving along, and you can see in the top left of the screen, we've got a working timer system and a working score system, right? And yes, this little Simba is a sprite taken from the Sega Genesis like 1998 Lion King game. And what we've got the score system up there is going to calculate a score based on how much time I have left when I reach the end of the level, which I've programmed to be about right there. So you can see right there, as soon as I crossed that line, and if I go into the scene view, I think you should be able to see it. No, is invisible. If I click it here, East End, there it is. So that's the end of the level. We also explored this issue of the trigger system last time. We discovered that if a collider is set to being a trigger, that it is something that you can move through, which is something that I found kind of unusual. And you can see actually the scoring system is not great because it doesn't really end the level, right? Every time I collide with it, it's adding additional score based on reaching the end of the level. I'm also curious if it hits 0, if it kills me. Has that been programmed in yet? Let's find out. All right. All the suspense. I'm going to drink my coffee really loudly and obnoxiously. 5, 4, 3, 2. It did. It worked. Oh, I didn't remember programming that. Good. So the death system also considers if you run out of time, which right now the only thing it does is just literally reloads the scene from the beginning. So we have a death system. All right, good. I wanted to run an experiment real quick though. So those of you know, I love my experiments because I'm a scientist. I wanted to find out, can the square thingies not jump? Nope, I have not given them any. I'll show you the movement controller in just a moment. Goombas don't jump. Goombas can't play basketball. It's in the rules. All right. Enemy East End. Okay, so I'm going to try something. You don't know what a Goomba is? Bro, play Mario, man. Come on. Ah, well, if you don't, you know what? That's okay. Connor says, "Imagine your first enemy in the game jumps at you, scary." Yeah, that's a good point. Goombas are a very, they are an enemy that just moves left at you. So they're a very good beginner enemy. It's a very good point, Connor. So a Goomba is the little brown mushroom in Mario. I'm sure you've probably seen him. But yeah, if you, it's actually interesting. I was at a museum exhibit. I don't play Mario. Well, gotta give it a try. Classic. So I was at a museum exhibit at the Smithsonian maybe like 10 years ago. It was an art of video games exhibit, and they had Mario, the original Mario from when I was a kid, projected up on the wall, and parents and their kids were like playing it, and it dawned on me. I was like, "Holy crap, that's right! Like there are kids these days ain't never played Mario. What?" And I was like, "Wow, that's right. That is a Goomba, Kukumba, yeah, that thing, absolutely." Oh, that tickles me. It's like when I was teaching a college class and I made a Matrix reference and I watched everyone just glaze over and I was like, "Oh, you've never watched The Matrix. I'm not old, you're old." All right, so, all right. Well, at least y'all love The Matrix. Or at least aligned on that. Okay, so I wanted to do an experiment. So the experiment was I've got this game object called East End, and I want to give it a little. Let's give it some color or something so we can actually see it. Why is it? Is the alpha all the way down? Why you? Oh, bonk. All right. So that's the end of the level, and right now the issue is that if I cross it, it's kind of invisible. I walk right through it, and that's because we've set it to is trigger, the collider to is trigger. So I want to do an experiment where I add a second collider that's not an is trigger. And I'm gonna set it like here. And I want to see, that didn't save. Of course it didn't save. Got to do this stuff in the scene view. All right, so I'm going to set the second box collider, and I'm going to set it like here. And my estimation, if my science works, is that I'm going to get to load the score, but it's going to stop me, which is what I want it to do, instead of passing right through. It worked. Yes, I'm winning. All right. Okay. A little bit of drama in the chat. A Wii has been stolen. I'm very sorry to hear that. The Wii was a good system. Many a good memory on a Wii. All right. The Switch is probably my favorite system ever made, though. To be real. I love my Switch so much. I cannot believe how much I love that thing. It's so good. All right, so... All right, what am I doing? I'm still... Wow, we're this far, 20 minutes in, talking about Wii's and telling puns. I gotta do some game design. All right. Scoring system. So yeah, we made that. Let's take a look at what that script looks like. And I also promised our new friend that I'd show them what the enemy movement script looks like. So if you take a look, right here, that's player movement script. Excuse me, princess. Enemy movement. All right. So all those video games that you play, they've got all of this Cody stuff. If you weren't familiar. And you'll notice this little function here called void flip is basically saying if the move direction is going one way, change it to the other way. And we trigger this function if that raycast, that little white line coming out of the Goomba, collides with a collider. And lastly, we define the speed of the enemy. So we define the movement, the direction of the enemy, the speed of the enemy, and we define the logic of the enemy that if his raycast bumps into a collider, we change his direction, he goes the other way. So, yeah. So that's how isn't that crazy? Like, that's it. That's an entirety of a Goomba. This is a Goomba. Like, you know, if you did an autobiography of a Goomba, it would be a quarter page long of its entire way that it exists. I would like to think that the code that wrote me is slightly more involved. I could be wrong, though. Maybe I'm just some sort of Unreal Engine, prefab. Oh no, my PC's running low on power because I forgot to plug it in. 1 second. Alright, I'm back. I forgot to feed me Amaru, oh no. Austin, don't forget to feed your Amaru. You got to do that, Austin. It's the only way you'll get big and strong. It's all good. We took all of the punishment out of that game. It used to be if you starved your Amaru, he would, like, abandon you. And you would have to buy a bell of atonement. You have to ring the bell. Amaru would have to come back and forgive you for being a negligent parent. Well, we got rid of all that. KMR was going to uninstall. Alright, there we go. Back to the log. Alright, let's see what else we got. Created the endpoint and level the debug if we touch it. Now we tagged the ground objects with the called ground. We got score, printing, designated trigger. We got UI elements up, and that required a new namespace called unity.ui, so we ran into that problem. We piped variables into the text for the UI, and they're updating correctly. So let's see, where is that's probably under the score script. So we've got a player score script here. And sure enough, if you look down at the bottom, we've got some functions here that are updating the game object with text, like score plus the variable player score. All of that is populating the user interface components. And point of confusion in playerscore.ui.gameObject. That's a long string of text, ain't it? Playerscore.ui.gameObject.getComponentText parens.text equals score plus player score. If you don't start sounding like a robot by the end of that, you might be a robot. Am I understanding the logic right? I think I am understanding the logic right. Okay, look into holding Shift and Alt for setting anchor positions within UI elements. Okay, so that's the last thing that I discovered right at the end of the stream. So if you go to anything that is a UI type thing, so user interface, that means your buttons, your text, your things that are not like a part of the game but are important to the game. It's like this stuff. This is called UI. This is called user interface. And Austin, check your sleep and wake times, buddy. If he ain't set to wake up at the time you want him to, you got to change your wake time settings. It's on to settings. And there's an FAQ about this. All right. So, all right, UI. So if you see here, there's this little, in the rect transform, this guy right here. And what this will do is it will move where in the corners or center of this box that stuff goes. So if I hit Control, it didn't do it. There we go. Oh no. Oh Lord. What happened? Oh, it's because this box is so huge. But if you see, if I, it says set pivot, set position. So if I hit Alt and I click the bottom left, you see how it pops time to the bottom left. This pops to the bottom right, top right, center right. So that's what Alt does, right? And do there, do there. I could stretch it across, it looks like. But anyway, I want a top left, so that's what I'm doing. Position, if I hit Control, oh, it sets a pivot point. I don't know exactly what that means, and because I'm a curious cat, I have to know. So I'm going to look it up right now. And that, I think, is the end of last time on Dr. Gabe's game design, and now we actually have to do the game design for today. And I don't know why all the funny voices are happening today, but I'm not going to apologize for it. You know, if Sam can be a potato when he streams, I can do funny voices. That's the rule. That's how it works. We'll see if Waldo wants to show up today. All right. So I'm going to Unity UI, what is pivot? Basic layout. Yeah, don't call me basic. I appreciate that. All right, basic layout, rect tool, rect transform. Okay, let's see what we got. Resizing versus scaling. When the rect tool is used to change the size of an object, normally for sprites, objects will change the local scale of the object. However, when it is used as an object with a rect transform on it, it will instead change the width and the height, keeping the local scale unchanged. Resize versus scaling. All right, pivot. All right, rotation, size, and scale. This isn't transform, though. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about, yeah, there we go. Anchor presets. This is what I want. Rect transform include a layout concept called anchors. Anchors are shown as 4 small triangular handles in the scene view. Allows the child to stretch together. So weird about the children. Stretchy children. For example, the child can be anchored to the center of the parent or one of the corners. Sounds weird. All right. If you hold shift while dragging, the corresponding anchor will move together with the anchor. Anchor presets. Also set pivot, also set position. Okay, here we go. Anchor and position fields. You can click the anchor's expansion arrow to reveal the anchor number fields if they are not already visible. Anchorman corresponds to the lower left handle. Yeah, so my suggestion was that if your bond was high with Amaru, that he shouldn't be quivering afraid if you missed a day or so. Stop punishing the user. Yeah, so this is something that, like, it's bad conveyance on our part, and I wish that we had, like, the resource to just redo it, make it better, but we don't, so it is what it is. What makes Amaru shiver is his aura level. Or your aura level. Like, he basically, you are never punished by... Amaru never gets anxious because you did something wrong. He just gets anxious because his aura level isn't high enough. And eventually, over time, as you do the meditations, you level up your aura, he gets anxious less. But yes, many times players log in, they see Amaru shivering, and they're like, what the heck? I did everything right. Why is he still shivering? And it was supposed to be a metaphor. It's like... anxiety is like something that you get over time, but it doesn't seem to have conveyed very well. So I guess we should have done something different, but we didn't want to inflict anxiety as like a status effect. It's not really compassionate, but sometimes we failed on that. We should have done that differently. But yeah, anyway, if you want Amaru to be anxious less, just keep meeting your goals. And each time he levels up, he gets less. Basically, the way that works in terms of code, by the way, y'all, is it's a probability. So he, at level 0 aura, he wakes up anxious 100% of the time. And I think at level 1, it's like 90%, and then level 2, it's 70%, all the way down to... level 5 aura, he never wakes up anxious. You'll never see that animation again. So it's just a dice roll. And if you roll higher than the lowest thing, he doesn't wake up anxious. But yeah, we had more complicated mechanics we wanted to do with that, but scope be scope, and we had to cut them out. Okay. Anchor and position fields in the inspector. That's what we were doing here. When the anchors are separated, the fields can change partially or completely, left, right, top, bottom. I'm not going to lie. This does not make a lot of sense to me. Ryan, if you don't want to listen to 12 minutes of meditation, buddy, you can just tap your goal gem amulet and set your meditation goal to something, set your self-care goal to not have meditation in it. Just change it to one of the other ones, or like enter your own, and then just log it complete. Nobody makes you do the meditation. You just only do that if you want to. Is this stuff not clear? Dang it. That's not great. Granted, I also can't blame it. I can't blame the game if y'all won't read. A lot of y'all just don't want to read. But yeah, if you and I'm in Headspace 90% of the time. Yeah, Headspace is great. I love Headspace. I use Headspace, and then I just log. You can log your goals manually complete, y'all. Like do your Headspace meditation, and then like log it complete in Amaru, and you get credit for it. If I could have my way, I'd have Headspace content right there in the game. That's awesome. Dang, maybe during the tutorial people are getting it wrong and they think that they got to do the meditation every time instead of just any self care goal. Ah, man. Too bad we don't have resources to fix it. Oh well. I could spend the rest of my life trying to tweak Amaru and make it better, but can't do it. Can't do it. All right, so anchor and position fields in the inspector. On all the anchors. All right. I don't know what that all means. I think we need to get moving, but basically, I need to better understand UI pivot versus anchor at some point. Oh, wait, no, I think it just clicked. Okay, so if I set the pivot, let's say I set the pivot control, let's say I set that there. If I then rotate, will it rotate based on that pivot? That's not really helpful. I'm going to set my position, top left, and my pivot centered. I don't really know. It's truly a credit to Lexi's art that Amaru affects us so much. He's very real and easy to empathize with. That's true. Lexi did do a fantastic job with the art. Yeah, we doubled down hard on that hand-drawn animation. Disney don't even do that stuff anymore. It was a choice we made. Okay, so why are you... What happens here? You should be at 0. Why can't I edit this? Oh, I don't want that. Score... Boop. And... Oh no. Things are happening. There we go. Okay. So, I, in my own time, I'm going to try and figure out more about the UI stuff. But let's just, for funsies, let's just reset Simba's position. I've got to do this in the... Alright, so Simba's a jumping. We programmed him to move, we programmed him to jump, we programmed him so he can't jump all the way, but this is grounded variable. We put some Goombas in the game. Bonk. I hate playing side scrollers with a keyboard. I've got to get my gamepad hooked up to this thing. Boop, boop, blah. I also don't like getting stuck on the colliders like that. We gotta figure that one out too. Shoo, shoo, parkour, parkour, Simba, parkour, and bonk. We win the game. Awesome. I also programmed him death so that if he falls in a pit, it restarts the scene. He's too fat. Bonk. All right, awesome. So that's it. Cool. We are fully caught up. Let's go into the next part of the tutorial, y'all. Score system. All right. Cool. You should see high score system now. I'm gonna hit play. I don't remember it if the volume comes through on your side, honestly. So I hope it does. If not, I'll let you know what's going on. But you can see we were working on the scoring system here. Where's my volume coming from? You can't read that, you're blind. Well, I don't think you're blind. I think it's like 6-point font on a tiny screen being cast to you from the internet. So don't worry about it. It's not important. Let's see what's going on.
This works. I'm going to be cheering because I'm not actually sure if it's going to work. Oh, let's just have a look at that, see if it works. Cool. So it's counting down. It's counting down to with the float. I wonder actually if we just change this to an int. If this, oh my god, this just works. Nope.
It's because you did an int and then you tried to change it to an int later.
Just gonna change this back.
I got ahead of that.
And obviously we need to cast it.
There you go. That's what I did. Look at me, I'm so smart. A guy who's built half of Mario is talking shit to a guy with like a Patreon teaching tutorials.
That's great. And we can do the same thing. Copy this. And we can say...
I think this is episode 4, Kmar. We are about at the end of episode 4. Last 5 minutes.
Put in integer. It doesn't need to be changed from integer. It can just be referred to as player score. Okay, so right now our score is 0. Why didn't that update? Score is 0. I've got to change player score UI. Game order get a current text equals score.
What do you mean he goofs,
plus
Kmar?
score. Hopefully everyone is following me. Alright, cool.
That's okay, Hexel.
Yay, our score is huge, and every time we run through it, obviously.
Oh yeah, no, we discovered that last time, KMR. Remember when I was like, what is going on? And like it turns out that he like just totally edited his video and was like putting it in the wrong entire script, and it was like yeah, that wasn't a lot of fun to like troubleshoot live with you all for like 45 minutes only to discover he made the mistake, not us. Well, Heckle, this is the nitty gritty. This is the coding stuff. It's not necessarily intuitive. If you want to follow along from the beginning, you can look at our other videos that we've done, or just like watch this tutorial. But this is not if you're not into the engineering and the coding side of stuff, this is not a tremendous amount of fun to watch.
We get more of a score, but that's not what's going to happen when we actually build out the game. Obviously, when you touch the end, it'll run this whole method about finishing the level and yada yada yada. And drop down there, our score resets, which is great.
Oh wait, what?
Cool. So later on, game obviously when you touch the end, it'll run this whole method about finishing the level and yada yada yada. And drop down
Sweet.
there, our
All right,
score
cool.
resets, which is great. Cool. So later on, we will work on. In the next episode, maybe in the next episode. Don't want to get too ahead of myself. We'll work on getting scores like by collecting coins, by jumping on enemies, things like that. So we will tackle all that stuff next.
Leveled up, y'all. Episode 5. How many of these things are there? Out of curiosity. 13. Oh, wow. All right. Well, we've got a long road together, but all right, here we go. Hopefully, it won't take as much time as I'm getting more and more familiar with this thing. So.
What's up, everybody? It's Dave from Let's Make a Game Together. Thanks for checking out this channel. First of all, thanks to my Patreon supporters. If you want to support the channel, links are in the description. So let's just jump straight into it today. Basically, let's check out where we left off. Okay, here we go. Let's play. Wait for my computer to think. And we've got this character here. We've got a time left up here in the top left-hand corner, and a score. And when we hit the end of the level, which is an imaginary invisible block here, it adds our time and times it by 10 or 100 or something, and yeah, it gives us a score. Cool. So this lesson, I want to add some coins for the score, and I also want to add some. I want to adjust the enemy a little bit. So to do that, I have gone into sprites and I've added a coin to our sprite here. So if I click on Sprite Editor, it'll open up, and I can slice, I think, automatically. And I think that works. So I apply that. Cool, got my coin there.
Okay, so I'm gonna need a coin graphic. It looks like. I don't know if I've got one already. Let me take a look at what I do have. Maybe I can repurpose something. Yeah, so this is what I've been working with. Doesn't look like it's giving me a coin. Could always just use the question blocks or something, but let's just grab one from the internet. That's not how that works, Gabe. Mario 8-bit coin. There you go. Oh, I want it transparent, though. Hell yeah. Maybe. Will it work? Downloads. Dang it. Maybe. You know what? Like. Transparent. And maybe you. I wonder if it'll let me crop in there. You know what? The more I try to do this, the more I learn that it's better to not be lazy. Just get the coin. There it is. Copy it. Go to Photoshop. Grab some Amaru jewels. It's not a terrible idea. Swoop, swoop. Take my little magic wand. Click the thing. Delete all the stuff. Remove the background layer. And now I have exactly what I need. Alright, export. Mario coin. Now I'm going to go back into Unity and I'm going to go to my sprites and I'm going to create open, maybe? Open? No. I'm going to drag it in. Maybe not yet. Aha! Thank you, Photoshop. Goodbye, Photoshop. Alright, we have a coin. Bing! Wow, they're huge. Let's make it small. Let's think about it. How small? How small should be? Like these? Yes, feels good. Right? And I'm going to how do I do that? Save it. I want to save it as a prefab. Can I do it back down into here? Oh, did I do this into here? There we go. We will call this small coin. All right. So, why did I do that? I did that because I don't want to have to resize. Yes, absolutely. I like small with one L. It's don't have to be small. So I want to be able to not have to resize it every time, right? So if I drag, oh, what the heck? Why are there two of them now? Ah, oh, sorry, maybe. I am so confused. Oh, oops, okay. I have done something horrible. I don't want to have to resize that every time, right? So I resized it the way I wanted to, and then saved it as a prefab. And that way I can just drag these babies all the time. And got it the size I want it to be. I don't know why there are two of these now, though. Or why one of them has... Oh, I think it was just the engine freaking out and not real. Good to show us from the beginning. Yep, absolutely. Okie doke. All right, we got ourselves a lovely. We got coins now. All right, good stuff. So back to the tutorial.
If you're following along, links in the description. If you're using these same assets as me, hopefully you're not. They're horrible assets. You can find way better ones. Cool. So everything still works. Players still the same size. Everything's good. But now we have this coin sprite here. So I'm just going to first of all drag in the coin and going to make
Maru tab open.
That's good. Just leave that same size, and going to add a collider. So collider 2D and I'm going to make that is trigger. I'm going to add a rigid body 2D.
All right, so I should probably be making all of these changes on the prefab level. We are creating a collider. So if you remember from before, that means that when something interacts with the physical boundaries of it, it's going to call a function. And we're setting it as trigger, which means that it's not going to stop our movement. It's going to trigger a function instead. And let's see what else he's doing. Setting it to static. The reason he's setting it to static is that means that it's not going to apply physics. If we didn't do that, it would make it so that all of the coins floating in the air would like drop to the floor because gravity would apply. But setting it to static means that it won't move.
I'm not sure if we need the rigid body. So I'm gonna just...
I actually had that question. Do we even need to apply physics to the coins? And the answer is no. So I think he's about to remove the component.
Take that off.
And he does. Look at me. It's me learning a game design. All right, so let's or development, I guess I would say. I don't know what any of this is, but it's cool. This is the Unity game engine, my friend. Everything that you see in Amaru is made in this thing. It's how you make games. You also could do it in Unreal Engine or other ways, but this is how you make games. This is the thing. This is the stuff. All right, so small coin. We are going to add a collider to it. So I'm going to hit add component. which is somewhere. Open prefab for full editing support. Yes, that's what I want to do. Add component. Box Collider 2D is a trigger, and we're not going to add physics to it because we don't want to apply physics to it. Why would you want to apply physics to a coin? It's bonkers. Unless our whole system loves that game. Unless you wanted the coins to like fall and bounce along the ground, like Sonic the Hedgehog's rings, right? Those all like fall to the ground and bounce around. But Sonic's a terrible game. You can clip that. I don't care. That's how I feel about it. Don't like Sonic. All right. So that should now be applied. So now I can drag these, and all these will have colliders with triggers. Let's see what's next.
Someone commented in the description. I'm used to putting a rigid body in everything, but I'm not sure if we actually need it. So we'll just leave it off for now and just see if that happens. Okay, cool. And now the coin is there. Let's just press play.
What's wrong with Sonic, in my opinion, is just like, I think that the camera doesn't, for the amount of speed that Sonic needs to move, the camera can't keep up, and that's really annoying. It's got 3 A, B, and C on the Sega Genesis controller, and all of the buttons do the exact same thing. Yeah. I'm talking about the original Sonic the Hedgehog, by the way. I know they've made Sonics 1, 2, 10, all the way up. There's a 3D Sonic for the Dreamcast that I enjoyed, so like there are some out there that are okay. But man, the original Sonic the Hedgehog to me just felt like a struggle bus of a game. It did have good music, and I mean, like, running on the loop-de-loops and stuff, like some of it could be fun, but it just felt so clumsy. I did not care for it. I'll be a Nintendo kid for life, though.
And the other things we want to do is eventually we'll get the coin to rotate, but for now it's just going to stay like that. We're just going to call this coin, and then we can just drag that into our prefabs to make a prefab of that coin, and delete it. Cool. Alright, so we've got a coin there. It doesn't do anything yet because we haven't adjusted any of the scripts, but what I want to do first is let's chuck a couple of boxes in here. Copy, paste.
Ooh, I wonder if we're going to make the coins come out of the boxes yet.
There, and remember this old trick. Got the enemy there, and hopefully it moves back and forth. Cool. So what I want to happen is I want that the player, every time the player lands on top of the enemy, he bounces off, just like in the original, and the enemy dies. And same as if the enemy runs into the player takes damage to his health, or he dies. So to start, I think we'll just do the coolest thing, which is to get him to bounce off the enemy's head, which is actually quite easy to do. So first thing is first.
All right, so this is going to be fun. We're programming in the ability for the player to bounce off the enemy's head when he lands on him, Mario style.
Move the player from where he is there over here. So this project is going to need a bit of a cleanup in a future episode where we clean up the project. But for now, we're just going to leave it a little bit messy, and that's fine. Cool. And just a little bit of neatening up. If we go to the place score script, we see that if we run into any trigger, it will count our score. We don't want that currently right now. If I drag in the coin, I'm not sure if you noticed before, when I press play, it'll count the score every time I touch the trigger, which is not what we want. So
wait a minute. Wait, whoa. Did he just add...
Clean up the project.
What did you just do?
But for now, we're just going to leave it a little bit messy, and that's fine. Cool. And just a little bit of neatening up. If we go to the place score script, We see that if we run into any trigger, it will count our score.
Okay, that's interesting. So let's take a look. Right now, the way that our player score script is written, it is saying count score. So void count score. Player score is going to say it's the current score plus how much time you have left. And this gets triggered every time on trigger enter 2D. Anytime a player basically touches a collider that has trigger on it, it's going to calculate that score. So we've added that trigger to the end zone of the game, if you recall. So if I look at East End, this green box is a trigger collider that will cause the score to increment. But we have also now created this prefab small coin that has a trigger collider on it. So you'll see if I play, what will happen is if I touch the coin, it's going to give me the score as if I reached the end of the level. See that? Yeah, every time I touch the coin, it's giving me the time left. Yeah, so we don't want that. We're going to have to differentiate a bit between the trigger at the end of the level and the trigger on the coin. So I'm glad that we're addressing that now because it was bothering me. So how are we going to do that, Unity Guru guy?
Don't want that currently right now. If I drag in the coin, I'm not sure if you noticed before, when I press play, it'll count the score every time I touch the trigger, which is not what we want. So let's go into that. Let's fix that up quickly. So if we say if trig, which is this variable here, dot gameObjects dot collider, gameObject dot tag, sorry, equals. Actually, let's just say gameObject dot name at this stage. You should never use gameObject dot name in a final product. It's a bit names change.
I really don't like how he's like, hey, I'm going to teach you how to do this thing. Don't ever do it this way.
For any reason, that's free code. But for now, let's just leave it at that until we work out a good system for our tags and layers and things like that. And we're just going to find out what it's called. What is it called? Called end level. Copy that perfectly. Make sure it is.
All right, so what we're doing here is we are making this function call more specific, where we're saying it's not just any time you collide with any trigger. We're going to do a logic check. So, okay, I've collided with a trigger, and I'm going to run an if statement, and I'm going to say, if that trigger is associated with a gamed object with this name, count the score. Otherwise, don't count the score. So
if it's called end level, it's going to count the score. So if I press play now, equals end level equals end level. Then when I run into this coin, nothing happens. That's what we want.
All right, so let's give that a try. So I'm going into the player score script, which is here, and I'm modifying this this here to make this more specific. So if all right, if oh gosh, all right, back to the video. Let's get that script up on the screen. Thank you. If trig, that's the trigger, dot game object dot name, trig dot game object dot name. I will understand the order of this logic one day, but it is not today. East End, I think is what I called it, but I need to make sure I've got it down. There's no equals. It's just close. East end, just like that.
And layers and things like that. And we're just going to find out what it's called. What is it called? Called end level. Copy that perfectly. Make sure it is perfect. So if it's called end level, it's going to count the score. So if I press play now.
All right. Make sure that compiles. It did not. Why not? What did I do? 513. It is in the line that I just wrote. There is a problem. They expect a closed parenthesis. Oh, I think it's here. Video. Trig.gameObject.name. I'm a little confused, but it seems it needs another closed paren. So, nope. All right, what the heck did I do? All right. Is it before count score?
And layers and things like that. And we're just going to
Dang it.
code. But for now, let's just leave it at that until we work out what it's called. What is it called? Called end level. Copy that perfectly. Make sure it is perfect. Those.
All right, let's see. Collider 2D trig. Let's just make this look exactly like his.
It's called end level. It's going to count the score. So if I press play now.
Oh. Maybe. Nope. Okay. I'm very confused. Why does it need another parenthesis there?
Copy that. It's called. What is it called? And layers and things like that. And we're just going to find out what it's called. What is it called? Called end level. Copy that perfectly. Make sure it is perfect. So it's called end level.
God damn it. What is your major malfunction? Void on trigger enter 2D, collider 2D, trig, got it. If trig game object name east end paren open curly bracket count score parens colon close curly. Why is mine saying it is expecting another close curly? Ah, what the heck? He doesn't have a.
Level, it's going to count the score. So if I press play now,
Ah, he has a compiler error. I guess it makes sense that I have a compiler error.
level.
There's an equals? I thought there'd be an equal. God dang it. That makes me so mad. Alright. You know, it shouldn't make me mad because I was right. I just didn't want to get ahead of him. God dang it. Alright. Of course there's an equal sign. Okay, so what should happen? Nope, there's still compiler errors. Use compound assignment. I don't know what that means. So I can't? All compiler errors have been fixed before. But huh? Cannot implicitly convert string type string to bool. It's not necessarily his fault. It's just kind of his fault. The problem is, KMR, is that I start troubleshooting and I should like watch just like 10 seconds later when they realize they made a mistake and go back and fix it. Equals even. So I actually wouldn't have been right after all. You needed 2 equals. By the way, for those of you who don't understand, it's a little confusing in coding, the difference between an equals and an equals equals. So an equals equals means like right now, what does that thing equal? And equals means basically make the thing equal what follows the equal sign, which I know is a little confusing. But are we good? All right, so what's going to happen now, because we fixed that equals, the whole equal situation. It's a real situation, y'all. What's going to happen now is I'm going to be able to pass through the coin without triggering the score function, which that is true. And then also now I will go to the end of the level and it will trigger the score function. Shit! Couldn't make it. Couldn't do it. Shua. Shua. Go Simba, go Simba, go. Go Simba, go Simba, go. And bonk. Alright, so it worked. The reason that worked differently is because now when we're looking for the trigger for that function, we're specifically looking for the trigger associated with the game object that has the name East End. So that's why that worked. Let's get back to it.
Then when I run into this coin, nothing happens. That's what we want. And if we jump over this and touch the end, it counts the score. Cool. Alright, so that just fixes that little problem. Well, we can do the same thing. So we can say like if treat dot game object dot name equals coin, and then we can just say something like player score equals players. Actually, I think it's saying player score plus 10.
All right, so now, and I can see why he does not recommend doing it this way, because it's not very scalable. I think it would have been better to use a tagging system myself. So I'm still in the player score function, or script, but now small coin, because that is the name of my object. I have a small coin in here somewhere, don't I? Yep, there it is. Now we're saying that if the trigger is associated with a game object that has the name small coin, we are going to, instead of running the count score function, we are simply going to add 10 to the player's score. All right, let's see if it works. Compiler. ¿Por qué? ¿Qué he hecho? Expect to close paren again. If I just... Oh, that's where it is. Oh, okay, this should work. Calling it. I'm gonna hit save. I'm gonna hit save, and it's gonna work. You ready? You ready? It didn't work. It's because I called it. I knew that was gonna happen. But is it just because I didn't hit save? I bet it's because we haven't assigned the player's score script to the coin. Watch this. And I need to do that at the prefab level. Sprite small coin, and I'm going to go to scripts, and I'm going to drag player score to that. So now we know to associate that game object or that logic. Let's see now. Still didn't work. All right, I'm not going to stop doing this thing where I get ahead of the tutorial. He's probably going to have the exact same problem, so let's find out. Oh, plus equals. Mine are missing punctuation there. That makes sense. It worked. Now, if all this worked, if I touch the coin, I should get 10 points. It didn't work. Probably because we didn't update the UI, maybe? Oh, you know what it is? I think it's because I put this coin before I changed the prefab. So I'm going to delete this coin. Go back to the scene view. Scenes. Delete this coin. I'm going to drag my new prefab coin, which I probably should put under prefab, which has the script associated with it. Didn't work. All right, so something else is wrong. Let's see what else we got. Aha, it didn't work for him either, because he hasn't assigned that shit.
Of course, it's that coin with a big C. Let's just change that. Let's just change the code, actually. It's got to be absolutely perfect. This is why you don't want to use game.name, because say if you instantiate them, they'll be like called game.coin.clone or something. But until we work out what we do, that's what
is my name wrong? Maybe my name's wrong. Small coin spelled like that. Where is it in my? Oh, whoa! what happened? Okay, I think maybe assigning that thing was not the right move. Let's just do that. Let's take that out. Here's small coin. Let's go back to the prefab view. And let's remove the player score script. Oh, I see. Interesting. Let's remove that. I'm surprised you don't need to associate it, but I guess we're just literally pulling in the name. It makes me wonder if you even need to assign it with the east end. But I'm probably going to try that in a second, just as an experiment. All right. Okay, regardless, mine is not incrementing by 10 the way it's supposed to. So first thing I'm going to do is check to make sure that I named it the right thing, which it looks like I did. I didn't put like a space on the end of it or something stupid. No. Okay. It's called that in the scene too. I'm just like perplexed because maybe we still. Oh, it's because I've got count score in here still. No. Alright, let me look at this video again.
Trig. Dot game object.
Destroy trig.gameObject. So we're running two if statements every time we collide with a trig, and it has the name for me of small coin. It should increment the score by 10. Yeah, okay. That makes sense. What am I doing wrong? You know what? I think I know what I'm doing wrong. Doesn't all work. Back to Unity. Not put. Let me see if the collider is. No, I'm definitely right up on that collider. It is set to this trigger the way it's supposed to be. So the issue is either that it's not triggering, not running the right logic, or not updating the UI. One of those three things. So let's see if this part still works. Oh gosh. Alright, that part still works. Alright, if trig.gameObject.name equals east10, count the score. Cool. If trig.gameObject.name equals small coin, your score plus equals 10. He has this destroy game object line in here. But that should not impact whether or not my score works. Maybe my issue is in the UI update. You know what I should do? I'm going to do a debug real quick. Let's find out if the issue is at my object level or my UI level. Ah, it's at the UI level. I'm so happy I thought to do that, y'all. I could have been looking at the wrong section of code for the longest time. So this debug just triggered it. My score is 10. It just did that. So like it's 20, it's 30, it's 40, it's 50. So the issue is that it's not updating my score field. Woo! Learning, y'all. Learning things and stuff. All right, let's see then. What is wrong with my player score? Okay, so let's see. Here we are. Yeah, of course not, because I never told it to. Like, why would it know to do that? It wouldn't know to do that. Did he do that? When did he do that? Did he do that in like a part of the video that we didn't see? See, I just really quickly edited it, or was I not paying attention? All right, well, we got to add this line up here. All right. All right, player score UI. Score. Wait, no, because he does it down here. But he only does it on the count score. Yeah. I hope so, anyway. I feel like this should be triggered off of getting the object instead of on the frame. Personally. I want to see it. I want to put it in 2 different places and see if it works. All right, right now that should work. So let's give it a try. Get them together. The way this is gonna run. There, see, I just did it. Awesome. So what this is gonna do is it's gonna seem right. That was the line in video 4. That was part of his flub. Ah, KMR so right. Oh my gosh. Okay, so what this is doing actually is that it's not actually updating the score to me touching the object. What's happening is I'm touching the object, but it's just checking every frame to see what the score is, and it's updating based on that. And yeah, it's probably a good, honestly, scalable way of doing it. It's imperceivable to us. Like we can't tell like if it's barely a frame behind like the contact and that score going up. But I just, for my own education, want to try something. So I'm going to move this out of the update function. And I'm going to move it down here to say, I want you to update the UI with score every time I touch this collider. And I want to see if it still works. And it does. Look at that. All right, so that's awesome, right? So now, instead of the game literally checking every frame and just not updating, like, no, there's nothing to update, it only checks when I touch that collider. And it's updating then. I don't know that it's a much better solution, KMR. It might be, it might not. It's a matter of... I think, honestly, you're probably right in this case, because there's probably not that many things that impact the score. But if this were a game where there were many different things that could be impacting the score at every time, it might make sense just to generally say, hey, every frame, check to see if the score changed and update the UI. You know what I mean? But I think, given that it's Mario, it's like, what could change the score? Reaching the end of the level, getting a coin, and bonking an enemy. Like, just those things. So, yeah, I think my solution probably is better here because there's only like a discrete number of ways that score could change. I'm also really interested to know like why that Goomba got stuck. Why did you get stuck? There's nothing that doesn't make any sense at all. I think it's got to do this. It's got to be this 2D physics stuff, KMR. I think that's what it is. All right, good. We're learning, but I am gonna move it back to where he put it because Lord knows it's probably not a good idea to differentiate too far from this tutorial. So let's go back up here. Let's get that in there. So yeah, we could do that, and very similarly, we could run this time left UI for. No, that needs to happen every frame. You know what? I'm being a little bit of a stinker, but I'm doing it down here. No, I'm not. Don't be dumb. Don't be dumb, Gabe. Just follow the tutorial for God's sake. But I would definitely put the score at the triggered on the enemy rather than that. All right. Put it in both places. I don't know. If I were to do that, I wonder if it would like double. No, it wouldn't. It would double call it, but it wouldn't double count it because it's only going to change the variable once. Like, let's see what happens. I wonder if it's going to like flicker. Definitely wouldn't want to leave it both places. But let's see if it like flickers or something weird. Like it's going to try to update the UI twice, right? So, all right, keep an eye on that 0. If it's flickering, it's pretty imperceivable. Let's put it that way. All right, but let's get rid of it. Yeah, let's get rid of that shit. Let's get rid of that ish. We don't need it. Get out of here. Drunk. Don't forget to drink your water. Bonus points if you miss your mouth because drinking is hard. All right, let's mosey on.
Fantastic. Let's have a look at that. Hey, we got 10 points and it destroyed our coin.
Oh, let's do that. Forgot that part. All right, so we are also going to make it so that we get our score updated and we destroy the coin. And I forgot to add that line, which I don't know the script for.
Trig. We can just say destroy trig dot game object.
Destroy trig dot game object. All right, let's see if that works.
Fantastic.
Oh no. What did I do? Where did I go wrong? Oh, that's that debug line. We don't need that anymore. I need parentheses. Boop. All right, we did it. The coin has been destroyed. Hooray! And now let's have some fun with it. Small coins for everyone. Oh no, it only applied to the one. Oh gosh, that's so dumb. It's because it's because the name. Can he make that jump? No, he really can't. It's a pretty crappy. I could maybe use it. I could bounce off the Goomba, which is actually what we're supposed to do next. But because Goomba is not considered grounded, I can't even jump when I'm standing on him. Jank. Oh, okay, I actually can make that jump. But, wow, look at that. Whoa. But as you can see, why it's such a stupid solution to use the equals name was that when I created all the other small coins, they're not named small coin anymore. They're small coin 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They would all have to be the same thing for that to work. So that's really dumb, and I hope he fixes it like right now. I think that we should use a tag situation. We should tag the game objects as coins and destroy them and run score if you enter a trigger that is tagged as a coin. Um, and I don't know if I know enough off the top of my head without him taking me through that how to do that. So I hope that we do that like right now. But let's see what he does. And I'm gonna reset my game to not have all those coins that we can't use. Boop. All right.
Let's have a look at that. Hey, we got 10 points and it destroyed our coin. Yay, we have a working score system for our coins. I mean, there's no animations or anything, but hey, it works. That's pretty good. Easy peasy, Japanesey. Okay, cool. So that's done. Well, at least temporarily done. And next thing we can move on to is the player and the enemy, jumping off the enemy. Okay, so right now I actually turned off the enemy move script. If anyone was wondering why my enemy wasn't moving, I was just doing some testing before I started this tutorial. So yeah, everything's working fine. Now it's time to start thinking about our layers and our tags a tiny little bit. So if we look over on our enemy, you can see the layer is an ignore raycast. Now that's fine, but what's going to happen is when our player needs to shoot a raycast downwards, it means that when he is shooting his ray down, it's not going to register because the layer is in ignore raycast. It's not affected by any rays. So what we want to...
All right, so it looks like we're going to fix this ignore raycast problem now, so that's good.
Is we actually want to adjust some of these settings inside of Unity to fix this problem. There are ways you can get around it with code, and we might do that in the future, but for now we're just going to take the shortcut. So with this, we're going to click on enemy and click default. I'm going to apply that to the prefab.
All right, so we're going to get our enemies to not ignore raycasts anymore, so that's good. So we're going to go into our prefabs, we're going to go to our enemy, we're going to open the prefab, and we're going to set them back to the default layer. And in the game itself, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 enemies. 1, 2, 3. Where is the 4th enemy? There he is. And we'll do that as well. Default. Oh, did it do that properly? Yeah. Default. Alright. Good. Good. Alright, back to it.
As well. And we're going to press play and see what happens. Right now, the enemy freaks out because it's constantly, the ray inside the enemy is constantly touching something and it's switching which direction it moves. So what we can do is we can actually go to Edit, Project Settings, Physics 2D. And there is a little setting down here called Query Start in Colliders. Now, if you don't have this, this is a setting that was introduced in Unity 4.6, so quite a while ago. But if you don't have this tick, then queries will start outside of the collider of the game object. So if we untick that and press play, the enemy.
Interesting. Queries start in colliders. Okay. I think I understand what that means from context clues, but I'm going to Google that real quick. Start in colliders. All right. I don't know why we wouldn't have just started there. So basically what that's saying is if you've got a ray that's casting outwards and it intersects a collider, it will only begin doing its check when it's outside the bounds of the collider, which I think makes a lot of sense. I don't know why we wouldn't have just started that way, but that's fine. So that's going to fix our Goombas bouncing off of themselves problem. So he did that by going into settings. Where was that? Where was that?
Project settings.
Physics 2D. Edit. Project settings. Physics 2D. And query starting colliders. I'm going to uncheck this. So now it's only going to do the checks when it's outside of the bounds of its own collider, and it's going to work the way that we want it to. I wonder if that means that they'll not get stuck on each other anymore. I actually don't know if that's true or not. Let's find out. Yay! They work perfectly now. Will they still get stuck? We like get them all janked up on each other? Not really. Gonna bully these Goombas around. Boom. 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 I've got to figure out how to not get stuck on the side colliders like that. Boop. You could have just started this way, mate. You could have just been like, hey, well, if you want to make them not janky, you could do it like this. That's really funny to me. Anyway, die, Simba, die. Alright. That's deep for a beginner tutorial. Oh, well, yeah, I gotta do what you gotta do. I don't know. I feel like if you're making a Goomba, like that could have been like a, hey, this is how you make one.
It's 2D. And there is a little setting down here called Query Start in Colliders. Now, if you don't have this, this is a setting that was introduced in Unity 4.6, so quite a while ago. But if you don't have this tick, then queries will start outside of the collider of the game object. So if we untick that and press play, the enemy game object, even though it's in default layer, it works perfectly, which is exactly what we want. So for now, this is a nifty little trick I just discovered, and we're just going to use that for now. So that works fine, and it means that our code will work fine when it's running with the player as well. So if we just save that, our enemy was now on the default layer, and we can also make sure our prefab of the enemy is on the default layer. Fantastic. Our player is on the default layer. Cool. Okay, so we can then open up our scripts and we can open up our player move script. Eventually, like I keep saying, we are going to clean this project up a little bit. But now this is fine. This is what we're going to do. So, okay. So we're going to create. No, we're not going to worry about a variable actually at this stage. I'm just going to keep it messy. we're going to create a new method called void player raycast. And we're going to say in update, we're just going to call that player raycast. And then we go down to a player raycast, and we're going to add some code. So what we want it to do is we want to shoot a ray down from the player, and then every time it touches the enemy, we want to do something. And in our case, it's going to be that he's going to bounce off the enemy's head, which is what happens in Mario. So if we go over to our enemy org script, we can take this line of code here, which is raycast hit, physics 2D raycast, transform position, yada yada yada. Copy that and move it over to here, dump it.
Alright, so we are grabbing this ray casting language from our enemy movement script. So this one here, this is the one that tells the Goomba to turn around and it makes a collision based on its ray cast, and we're moving over to the player movement script. Void player raycast, which I guess we're adding just to the very bottom here.
Now, we're going to delete just the end here up until, we'll just delete it up to here.
Alright, so void player raycast, creating a new function here that is just completely running independently, it seems, in the player movement script. Raycast 2D hit equals physics 2D.raycast. That's where we're starting. Information returned about an object detected by a raycast. Hit is a variable that we're defining. Using physics 2D. And this is what's being returned to this hit variable. Information returned about an object, the hit variable, and now we're determining how we are returning the information. All right, let's see what we got.
Actually, I probably didn't even need to copy it in that case. And where we're going to raycast from, it's asking for a vector2.origin. We're going to say transform.position, comma, and what direction? We're going to say vector2.down.
All right, so we are sending a vector to down, transform.position. Let's see. Transform.position. Okay, so when we're creating this physics 2D information, we're first giving it an origin point with the raycast. So from a raycast. Okay. We have an origin point, so where's the ray coming from? We're saying it's coming from the position of the game object that this, the position of the game object that the script is associated with. So that means we're looking at the player, we're looking at the transform, and we're looking at the position. And we're saying then, therefore, we're going to cast this ray down from 15.7, 7.02, 0. That is the origin point of our array. Meanwhile, from there, we need to cast the direction of the ray. So we are sending it down, which, I think there's specific numerical ways you can communicate down, but down is a shorthand that works here. I sent my dad the blue joke. He said the sky. He's gonna groan and laugh really hard when he hears the answer is light blue. It's the ultimate dad joke.
Cool. So now it's just
okay. So we're gonna cast a ray down from the position of the player. Cool.
It's going to be shooting a ray downwards, and then we can just say if hit dot distance is less than 0.9f, I suppose. That might work. And so this number here will be different for your game because your character will be a different size. But fiddle around with this the same way as what I'm doing. I just guessed 0.9. It might not be 0.9, but it's quite a large number. I'm sure it'll work fine. And hit dot collider dot tag equals
just call it a Goomba, man.
Yeah, we're just gonna write ground at this stage. And then we're just gonna say debug dot log touched ground. So we can also use this for our grounded method, but we're not going to worry about that in this.
All right, so it looks like before getting to bouncing off the enemy's heads, we are kind of reconceptualizing the way that the game is checking whether or not Simba's on the ground, which is something that determines his ability to jump. So going back to the script, I'm going to need to probably do this to make sure I get all this code right, because this is all pretty gritty. Come on. Why are you fighting me? Thank you. Okay, so we have a structure raycast 2D that is named hit, and we are saying to get information from a raycast that we are sending from the transform position of player downward. And now if hit, that's the variable we just defined, dot distance, or the raycast, yes. Which I'll be honest, we're getting pretty lost, but I think I understand. I think what this is saying is that we've got this struct called hit that is getting information from a ray cast from the transform. And now we're saying that if the distance from hit, the distance from the ray origin to the impact point is less than, he has 0.09 to start, and I think we need to probably make that a public variable that we can tweak. and hit dot collider dot tag equals ground. We're going to start just by returning a debug message. Debug.log Ray has touched the ground. Okay. Says I've got a syntax error. That's right there. Do a paren. Looks like I've got another error somewhere. Expected semicolon, that makes sense. All right, so that should work. So let's see that drive. Let's see if it does the thing. Console. So that's not working, but I think it's because stop. Flatty flats are gone. Where's my ground? It is tagged as ground. So it should be working. But it's not. Right. I want to see. What do you mean? But it's right there. I'll just do it this way. All right, what do we got? What do we got? What do we got? I wonder if his works. I should check to see if his works first, huh?
So we can also use this for our grounded method, but we're not going to worry about that in this episode, probably not. And let's just see if it works. Yep, so touch ground, and we're constantly touching ground.
Work for him. All right. Why isn't mine working? void player raycast, open brackets, 2D hit, physics 2D cast, transform dot position, vector 2 down. If hit dot distance is greater than 0.9f, that might be the issue. It might just be the size of the thing, which is why I wanted to draw the collider, but I can't tell. So I'm just going to call this 1.5. I can't see the collider, so I might just have to keep playing with that. Let's try 3. It doesn't seem to be the size. I'm just gonna just be crazy just to make sure. I'm trying to see if it's the size of the ray that's the problem here. And it doesn't appear to be, because that ray is supposedly very big right now. And so let's see. I wonder. I bet I know what it is. Nope, it's not. All right, so. Oh, no, I need to make it toita. Toit like a toiga. Perhaps. Maybe the ray. Let's try that. Nope. All right. It is not the length of the ray that is the problem. I've done something else wrong. Let's see what we got.
And then we're just going to say debug.log touched ground. So we can also use
this all looks right. Raycast 2D hit, physics 2D raycast, transform dot position, vector 2 dot down, if hit dot distance is greater than 9, hit collider tag equals ground, and debug log touch ground. I'm not seeing anything wrong here, which is frustrating. Did I do... The tag is ground, that's correct. Let me just make sure I didn't miss something from earlier with like the
and
stuff.
Enemy script with that, and if transform me and
he defined some variables
player,
up there, didn't he?
And then every time it touches the enemy, we want to do something, and in our case,
yeah, I missed something.
And then every time he plays onto a raycast.
Yeah, helps if you define your variables. All right, so what do we got? He has it in void update. Not calling the function. Gotta do that. Does he have it just under player move? Where's he got it?
And then we go.
No, not yet. Gosh, I wish there was like a go back 10 seconds button on YouTube. I'd be so happy. I would be so happy. All right, player move. There it is. So back to my script. All right, that will make all the difference. So we basically are saying every frame, check and run raycast. Of course, now I'm getting some sort of compiler error. Probably, because I have the void in there. That did it. All right, I hope that we can end this on victory because unfortunately I can't afford to go overtime today. So, hooray, we did it! All right, you can see this constantly populating log every frame saying that we have touched the ground. So anything that is considered ground, we have touched. This box is not considered ground, so we're not touching it. This pipe is considered ground, it seems. Is it? Let's see. Pipe. Scene. Pipe. Tag ground, right? So anything that we have tagged with ground is returning this ray. And next time we'll be able to use that by also tagging enemies differently and making it so that when we hit their colliders, we can call different codes based on what tag is applied. And so, awesome. Glad to end today's stream on a point of victory. Victorious. So I'm going to quickly log that we left off at 11:33 of episode 5. All right, so 11:22.2022 left off at 11:33 of episode 5. All right, we are programming a raycast down from the player transform dot position when it intersects with a collider tagged ground. It returns a debug message. We will use same functionality to detect when colliding with an enemy to program a bounce. We needed to get down into the weeds in project settings, 2D, oh, it's 2D something, game object, edit, project settings, physics 2D, physics 2D, to disable query start in colliders. Query start in colliders to stop Goombas rays bouncing off inside of Goomba Collider. What else did we do today? We programmed coins. Okay. We programmed coins to add 10 points when collided with and deletes the coin. While our program updates for every frame could be tied just to collision event. Did we do anything else today? We got coins. If we go back to the prior video, we were about
Happy
here.
days. On left UI. Any more but what we cool. So it's Eagles score level and yada yada yada. Maybe in the next episode. Don't want to get too ahead of myself.
I don't think if I had anything else.
Raycast. So to do now, the coin is there. So we've got a coin as if the enemy runs into the player. We see that if we run into any trigger, it will count our score. Jump over this and.
All right. Oh yes, and we. We differentiated triggers using .name to make it so scores wouldn't update, or time left score wouldn't update on every trigger collision, only east end. This is a jank solution because it looks for the exact game object name like small coin, and if you have copies like small coin 1, it won't work for all of them. Should change to a tagging system. Okay, well that's gonna do it, y'all. I gotta run out to Durham for a meeting. But thanks for tuning in. I think it was pretty fun today. Appreciated your interaction at the beginning of the beginning of the thing. Take it easy. Thanks for following along, and have a good Thanksgiving. As always, if you enjoyed our broadcast today, we've got about 100, 120 or so players seeking golden keys, and they got financial need. They can't afford the Amaru game. And we have a wonderful little function right there in the app where you could send us a tip by buying the game for someone else. So if you enjoyed this today and you have the financial means to do so, please go into the Amaru app and buy someone a copy. We much appreciate it. Take it easy. Bye-bye. Where's OBS? And